Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with My Adventures with Superman, episode 2. We are back already with this. Yeah, it's kind of surprising, but there's some notable reasons why. It's not just out of the blue or whatnot. First off, we are on hiatus from Ghost of Milo McGee, so we needed something to replace it, another first impressions reaction. So I was thinking about like a few things we had coming up, and I was also noting that I have been kind of obsessing over getting back to this. Since I watched the first episode, I was like really hooked in. It got me really interested, and on top of that, I've been seeing some great art of the characters. Um, and there's even been a lot of discourse about this series. The episodes keep coming, and because of that, the talk keeps coming from the viewers. And I don't want to be spoiled. Like, I don't want to be spoiled. And I think I've been doing my best, and I've been avoiding mostly everything. But I don't want to be spoiled, and I don't want to risk continuing to be spoiled. So I decided it's probably a good idea to just get to this. Rather than wait and risk getting spoiled more, it's probably a good idea to just get to this. Because I know, like, one thing that ends up happening. I don't know all the context surrounding it or why exactly. But I know, like, I basically know, like, what happens in one isolated scene. And I really wish I didn't, but it kind of just happened because everybody's talking about this series. And like I said, I really enjoyed the first episode. It was it was a good take on Superman. I liked seeing Jimmy and Lois in their new portrayals, their interesting takes. And the action was good. The character work was good, and it was diverse too. Like, not just racially diverse, but the characters felt like actual people, like, rather than like archetypes, basically. And that includes with making mistakes. We see like some mistakes made in the first episode with like Lois, how she acts and reacts to things, how she hides things from like Clark, and even like puts people at risk just to try and get her story so she could become more than an intern. It's showing that these are human characters and that they have issues, that they do things that aren't too great. And I feel like there's a lot of superhero media that tries to do that and kinds of ends up messing up with it. Like, it still makes them come across as too perfect. Or sometimes the conflicts they go through feel forced. And it's like, oh, this character is trying to figure out what to do in this kind of moral situation. It's like, is there a question to this situation? It's like that's happened a lot of times in a lot of superhero media I've seen. It's like it's so one-sidedly obvious. It's like, this is not where you should be trying to add in the gray areas. I'm bad at explaining stuff. This is not where you should be trying to add in the character questioning things and trying to figure out what's right, because it's like, there's not a question to this. It's like with the entire Captain America Civil War thing. Like, it's not even a question who was on the right side there. Captain America, by the way. It's not even a question. It's not debatable in my eyes. And honestly, I just don't care about, especially this long after the movie came out, I'm not interested in hearing why people sided with Iron Man at this point. I don't care. Steve was completely in the right. Them being under the thumb of the government was not okay and was, would just put more people in danger. Yeah, like, again, I'm just not getting into this, okay? The point is, there's certain situations in a lot of these superhero movies and shows and even games or whatnot where it's like, oh, it's obviously one way or the other, but it's like this is the point where they're trying to make it seem like the superheroes have like this big moral decision to make, and it's like, no, don't do that. So I like it when it feels more natural. I like it when it feels like these are just human characters who are just making mistakes, and that's just part of their character. That's just part of who they are. Lois trying to become a reporter and, not, doing best at it because of it clouding her judgment and everything. It's like, I get that. That makes sense. That's believable, and it's not forcing it in. It's not forcing in that kind of conflict, that kind of, like, moral ambiguity that's not really there. You understand why she's doing it, but at the same time, you know that she's in the wrong, and it makes that clear that she's in the wrong. Clark confronting her shows that. So, I just like the way it's done here than in a lot of superhero stuff. There's always exceptions, of course. There are superhero media that does do this kind of stuff right. But it's, I don't know, it's just not as common as I would like it to be. But I'm interested to see more of that kind of stuff. I want to see these characters make mistakes and mess up and do and say things that are wrong. But have it be obvious and have it be like not some kind of moral quandary if they were right or wrong, but that they are shown to be wrong. They are shown to be the bad guy in that situation, even if they have like positive reasoning. It's like, I want them to be shown to be in the wrong, and I'm thinking the series is going to do it. Plus, of course, it has good humor, has good style, very modernized, which is usually a good thing. Not always, but usually. I'm very interested in seeing more. So let's just get into this and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I'm actually a little proud of that, I'm a little proud that I got Livewire correct. I guess that purely based on the fact that she was turning blue and the electricity stuff and all. Like, it doesn't seem like the most in-depth thing to use as a reason for that idea, but yeah. Also, this other dude is Slade Wilson. He's Deathstroke. I honestly did not see that coming, to be completely fair. But okay. I can take a different take on Deathstroke. He has the tech, he has the weaponry. It's like definitely still got that same fighting style and everything. I'm just wondering about the two in the background behind him. Was the one lady Amanda Waller? Because she looked like she would be Amanda Waller. Had very much the same style. And just visual style that Waller typically has. So I'm wondering if that's the case. I don't know if Waller has ever worked with Deathstroke, so I'm not sure. But I'm very curious. Neither of them spoke, so they're not listed in the credits, but yeah. And then we have just the normal characters. So this episode was basically the birth of Superman. While the first episode, these definitely go hand in hand, But while the first episode was just introducing us to the characters and the plot and the idea, this one was about Clark actually becoming Superman. We get the backstory with him as a kid, learning about his past as an alien, learning about the ship and everything. We see in the current day him returning to that and trying to discover who he is through it. And like I said, I love the fact that Jor-El in this is not speaking English. Because in so many of these iterations, he does. It's like, oh, I'm your real father, Kal-El. And it's like, how are you speaking English? You're not... What? You should not be speaking English. And it's like, usually it's just like, it's just a thing because they have to make it understood. But I actually like that we don't know what he's saying here. Like, we understand, like, the names he mentions. Like, he mentions his own name, Jor-El, and he says Kal-El in reference to Clark. And, of course, he mentions Krypton as well, the name of the planet they're from. But nothing else is understood. And I like that. I like that even we as viewers don't get subtitles telling us what he's saying. And I like that there's, like, no, like, handy translation thing that just translates his words into English. I was joking while watching, like, saying, like, we need a translator, but I actually am glad that we didn't just get it translated. It adds kind of a layer of mystery to it. But Clark gets to see his past, gets to see Krypton exploding and his parents putting him in the pod and everything. He doesn't know all the details about it, but he definitely puts together that those are his parents. His birth parents, mind you. And he gets the suit. We see throughout the episode as well that Leslie is being tracked and that she's trying to figure out what's going on after the events of the first episode. And we see that it ends up being Slade. They're talking, and because Jimmy and Lois end up coming out of the tunnels right at that point, she ends up thinking that they're all working together. And so, yeah, the entire fight goes down. And it's a pretty good fight. The action in this is really good. I like all the characters so far, like between our good guys, Clark, Lois, Jimmy, and even the bad guys, such as Leslie, Slade. It's like they in some ways are very different than previous iterations, but I don't mind it at all. I expect these characters to be different. I expect them to be their own take on them. I don't like it when every kind of show or movie or comic, in some cases, whatever have you, just repeats the same character over and over. Like, let's say a movie makes a character a certain way, and because of that, all the comics, all the shows and everything start just copying that. And just making the character like the version in the movie. It's like, that's boring. That's not interesting. It's lacking in any imagination and creativity. It's like you're just stealing a concept that worked rather than creating your own. And it's just not that fun. So I like it when people can take these different interpretations of the characters and make them stand out. This Lois is very different than a lot of the other interpretations of Lois we know. In fact, most, if not all of them. She's a very different type of character, and that's good. Same with Jimmy. Same with all of them, really. Like, Clark is probably the closest, but even he's a little sillier, a little, like, more ridiculous. I don't know how else to put it. A little goofier. Let's say goofier. But yeah, it's like, I like that they're trying to do something a little different. Also, with the fact that their story got credited for someone else, it's like, you can't be surprised at that. Let's be honest. You three are interns. You were never going to get the credit for this story. Why do you think Perry forced you out of the office so quick? It's like he literally, I don't think, can give the story to you as interns. So of course he's going to give it to actual reporters. And maybe things will change. Maybe he'll start to take you more seriously, start to take your leads more seriously, and maybe eventually you will become actual reporters and all. But until that happens, you're not going to get the credit. As unfortunate as it is, it's like, yeah, they deserve the credit, but they're not going to get it. The visuals are still good in this. The art and animation, the voice acting, the audio work, everything is really good. It's just completely exciting and enrapturing, and I want to see more. Also, the kind of like fun little flirtatiousness between Clark and Lois is super cute. Like, obviously, Clark and Lois, classic pair. Like, they always, like, become a couple. Um, and it's, like, just the way they're handling this is, like, super cute. With both of them, like, kind of, like, being flirty, but also, like, stumbling over their words and being really shy and antsy. It's just cute. It's adorable. um, so these first two episodes were definitely about like introductions and all. I assume Slade and the other two are going to be this agency, I guess, are going to be the main antagonists going forward. I'm wondering about Leslie though. Is she going to continue to be a thing? And is she going to like go like full Livewire, like full time in the future? I'm really interested in that. And what other kind of villains and characters are we going to get too? That's another big thing. Obviously, do not tell me in the comments. I want to remain spoiler free. Like I said, I really only know one thing coming up in the future. I don't even know what episode it's from. I just know of it again because spoilers on Twitter basically, and I don't even know the context behind it. So please do not tell me anything. But like I said, this is really good. I'm really glad I've chosen to get to this as well, rather than wait for who knows how long. But I would love to hear your thoughts too. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this second episode of My Adventures with Superman? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.